Good evening and welcome to another edition of Wrestling Legion. This is Sami, your host. It's good to be here today, and I'm joined by a couple of familiar faces. Nick, how are you doing tonight, mate?
I'm good, brother. Came off a good show. A 3 out of 5 show last night, so I'm in a good mood.
Better than expected. Yeah, it was all right. It was a good watch. How about you, Andy? How are you doing this week, mate?
Oh, good, mate. Can't stop smiling. I'm very happy today for some reason.
I know. We're all in a really good mood.
And the best thing, to put a caveat on it, is that we've got a special surprise guest this week. So, everyone, here he is. Hey! How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, brilliant. I actually wasn't supposed to be here. I just saw the link last moment and I hopped on. It's genuinely a surprise for me as well.
It's great
you totally were supposed to be here. You've got the honor and the privilege of being our first special guest. And
that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Looking forward to getting some of your takes.
It's genuinely lovely seeing you guys again.
It's great seeing you.
It's been too long.
It's been
So getting on with the first topic tonight, we're going to start on a downer. Always seems to happen when I'm starting the show off. We've had some more bad news this week. The wrestling world has lost another icon, Leaping Lanny Poffo, aka the Genius. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? What are your memories on Lanny?
I'll go first on this one. I've met Lanny before. One of his, sadly, when you look on his Instagram, one of his last pictures was at Penny Lane in Liverpool. He liked Liverpool and he spoke very, very highly of our city, and he was just an absolute sweetheart. There's a lot of people you look at in the wrestling world and you think they're nice people or there's things like this, but Lanny was a genuine sweetheart.
Yeah.
I never had the privilege to meet Lanny Poffo, but when I was growing up, I adored the Genius. I know we were all supposed to hate him as when we were kids, but I thought he was one of the best characters. Hello, David.
Hey, David. Thanks for joining, mate.
I thought Lanny was one of the best and most entertaining characters WWE produced in the 1980s.
Absolutely.
It's a crying shame.
Zane, you're a little younger than the rest of us. What are your memories on Lanny Poffo? Are you familiar with him? Did you watch him a lot?
No, I've actually not seen him, but I've heard of him. I've watched a few clips here and there, but it's always sad losing someone from the wrestling community, especially coming right after Jay Briscoe's passing. It genuinely feels hard, and I feel like a lot of people might be going through a lot more because I didn't have that personal connection with him as someone like Andy, Nick, or yourself might have had. Yeah. But it's still, he is a part of the wrestling community, and being an avid watcher, being a fan, it still hits to a certain degree, even though I had not personally ever watched him or seen him.
Yeah, I think it's just also, just to point out as well, that's pretty much ended the Poffo dynasty. Obviously Macho's well gone, and the parents were his father being a wrestler as well. It's kind of a really sad end to that kind of dynasty as well.
My memories of Lanny predominantly when I first started watching WWF was as a manager, and it's only later when I went back and saw him wrestle. He used to come out, didn't he, and do all the cartwheels, and such a great kind of character that was rare back in that day and age. And I think I've been watching him a couple of years before I even found out he was Randy's brother, and then he kind of put two and two together. But it's a big loss. Zane, I highly recommend you go back and watch some of his matches. Definitely worth taking a look at. If you ever
get a chance, his shot against Hogan in 86, I think it was 86, was just
somewhere around there.
Phenomenal work.
David says that he's seen Lanny Poffo for the first time in Atlanta Grand Prix Wrestling in '83. That's a long time ago. That's David. I wasn't even born then, mate. I was still a twinkle in my father's eye.
That's the year I was born, David.
I was 6. I was sitting watching wrestling on World of Sport, but I haven't come across WWE yet.
I bet he did.
Yeah, it's a sad loss. But yeah, moving on to slightly brighter things. We've not had a huge week this week for wrestling news. There's a few things happen that we need to talk about. Let's start off away from WWE, shall we? How do you guys feel about the news this week that Kota Ibushi has finally got himself a deal stateside? 2 appearances have been announced at GCW over the collective weekend. He's going to be wrestling at Bloodsport and also Joey Janela's Spring Break. Is this the start of more to come in the US? You know, is he potentially AEW bound? Nick, let's start with you. I know you're a big fan.
I bloody well hope so. All of his friends, from Kenny to the Bucks to everyone that he's mates with outside of New Japan, work in AEW. You already mentioned the fact that he's booked for the collective, for Bloodsport, and for Spring Break. We're going to be lucky enough to see Kota Ibushi at Spring Break, so I am absolutely ecstatic. The crazy thing about Kota is he's 40 years old now, even though he looks like he's about 25. So whatever he decides to do, I think this is probably going to be the final stage of his career. I know there's rumors of him opening up a training school, which I think would be phenomenal for young talent to be able to learn from the likes of Kota Ibushi. But the fact that he's finally got out of the New Japan umbrella and appears to be willing to put himself out there finally on stateside and really show off the talent that he's got has got me so excited. Just the potential.
It is. It could be amazing. We have seen him a couple of times in the States. I remember the finals of the Cruiserweight Classic. Was it maybe 5-6 years ago? He was involved in that. Andy, how do you feel about him coming into AEW? I mean, we know he's got a lot of friends there. Guys like Kenny Omega.
You know me, I'm probably, I don't know, I maybe say a better position than the two of you. I don't know which way you'll look at this, but I've not long found Ibushi. I only actually found him in New Japan at the beginning of the year, and I've been watching through quite a bit of his stuff. So I'm mega excited the fact I get to watch him, but I'm also really happy that I've still got a lot of back catalogue to go through with him. Which
is a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, which I'm coming to looking at. I feel like people are thinking that he's going to be going to AEW. I don't see that. I don't see him going there. I think, GCW, he'll do Bloodsport. If he was going to sign in the US, he already had an open line with Tony Khan potentially. So why has he not took that up straight away? Why has he gone down the GCW route? And is that because he doesn't want to get himself tied in like he did in New Japan again?
Is it more maybe waiting for the right time, So there has been a bit of a bottleneck and some congestion waiting to get into the AEW scene with so many new people debuting. So maybe just waiting for the right time.
Yeah, but as I say, it could be like a Luke Harper situation where it's kind of like, I don't really want to get caught up in that. I want to still do my own stuff. And, if Tony wants to bring me in for a one shot, I'll do it. But I'm still doing my own things.
If I may, Kota is synonymous with always wanting to go by the beat of his own drum. This is the man who wrestled on roller coasters and in forests and on beaches.
In forests.
I watched him do a Phoenix splash out of a tree onto Masato Chinata, to win a match. It was insane. Kenny Omega took his first pinfall on a hot dog cart after Kota Ibushi did a Phoenix splash off a popcorn machine in a fairground. The man has always been running to the beat of his own drum, so I completely see where Andy's coming from.
And it's not something
he might want to do more of his own craziness for a while.
It's not something you see every day. He enjoys his own stuff. We even talked about it in the week, didn't we, Nick? And we talked about, I suggested maybe we should all dress as trees today to announce the news, but no, that didn't happen. So Zane, you're familiar with Kota, right?
Yeah, quite a lot.
So how do you feel about him coming to GCW, to the US scene? Are there any dream matches that you'd like to see?
Watching Ibushi is always a treat. And while I agree with Nick that he's 40 years old, but these Japanese guys are made of something different. I feel like Ibushi can go like another 10 years landing on his neck over and over again, and he'll be fine. He'll be fine. As for dream matches, I feel like we're getting the Mike Bailey match, so that's brilliant.
Yes.
I think a move to AEW would be inevitable for him because everything's there, everyone's there. And while he is the kind of guy who likes to do things on his own, like if I recall correctly, he turned down a 6-figure contract just so he can wrestle a doll, around a decade ago. So I think he is going to AEW, but I don't see him being a regular there. Maybe a few appearances. I don't see him signing with the company. I think that 100% he's going to show up in AEW, and they can run an angle with Omega there. There's too much money on the table to be left. So it's almost inevitable. Omega, Ibushi, Golden Lovers reuniting. There's another angle to that story there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, whichever way it plays out. But for me, potentially, I'm a big fan of Takeshita, and I've always seen Takeshita as maybe a younger Ibushi. I know there's maybe only 6 or 7 years between them, but seeing some kind of matchups or partnership with those two is top of my list of what I'd like to see.
Do you think we could see him pop into? I know Dave just put there Ibushi versus Josh Alexander. Do we see him popping in for the run on Impact tapings? Because I know they taped them quite quickly, so you could probably get him in and out for one shot for him.
I think it's quite possible.
I mean, they had Jay White, didn't they? So why not?
Yeah, I think they have a very good Impact has a very good chance of bumping their viewership from 6 people to 7 people if they have Ibushi show up. So that's always going to be brilliant.
Slightly harsh, Zane. Slightly harsh. We'll allow it.
So there's 23 years between Takeshita and Ibushi signing.
Takeshita's about 34, isn't he?
He's 27.
27?
He's 27.
I'm sure I read he was 33 or 34 a few years back.
He is 27, my friend.
Moral of the story, never believe everything you read on the internet. Cool, okay. That makes more sense.
Minutes on Andy's Twitter.
Moving on. We had a premiere live event last night, which me and Nick had the pleasure of watching live. Nick, would you like to give us a few thoughts on it?
Vengeance Day. Okay, solid 3 out of 5 show. The main event, in my opinion, was the worst match on the card, but Bron Breakker was in the match. You can't get blood from a stone. There's not much Grayson Waller could do there, unfortunately. I thought that Dijak and Wesley absolutely tore the house down with their North American Championship match. It was phenomenal, and seeing Wesley pushed over a guy the size of Dijak, who a lot of us last night thought was going to win, is a really, really good thing to see, because Wesley is a phenomenal talent. He's like Ricochet version 2.0. So I'm really glad to see him get pushed. I thoroughly enjoyed Roxanne Perez's defense of the women's title against Toxic Attraction in a triple threat. I thought that was a great piece of business. The pace of the match was fantastic, and really gave Roxanne a chance to shine. I was very surprised that Gallus got the tag titles, however. I mean, I'm always good to see the UK boys go over and get some of the belts, but I honestly thought they were going to go back to Pretty Deadly or stay with New Day. So I'm glad to see Gallus going where it was, but I haven't paid a lot of attention to NXT, as you know, over the last few months. I tend to just watch the PLEs, and that's about it. But this show did a lot to prove to me that even though Sean's booking can be a little bit from time to time, that they do have a plan down there now. Everything appears to be going.
Can I just stop you there? I do apologise, but how dare you state you watch PLEs? In your age demographic, we do not refer to them as PLEs. Well, we still watch pay-per-views, Nicholas.
But it's not a pay-per-view anymore, Matt.
It will
always be a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It will always be a pay-per-view.
I think at this point we want a WWE sponsorship, so we're going to call it PLEs. We're going to abide by whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Responsible journalism, Andy, mate. We have to call a spade a spade. It's a PLE. It says PLE on the network. It says PLE on Peacock. So it's a PLE.
Go report.
Yeah. Pay-per-views are old news, mate. You've got to get with the new generation. You've got to adapt.
I'm trying. I just can't bear it.
Yeah. We don't.
Zane, did you watch the show last night?
No, I couldn't hear. That's for NXT. Sorry.
No problem. All right, Andy, your thoughts on the show last night?
Thought it was good. But from what I've seen of it, I'd say, thing is just a fun. Bron Breakker. It's just a human fun. He's absolutely boring. I don't even think he'd be a solid mid-carder on the main card.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't even think it's just as wrestling for me. It's I want to be a man on my own, and I want to stand out, and I don't want to be a star, but I am going to stand there and I am going to bark and look like my dad
and do Frankensteiners and sound exactly like Scott.
So I haven't quite kept up with NXT. So with 3 very professional journalists and wrestling experts, I really want to know, why has Bron Breakker not been called up to the main roster yet?
Because he sucks.
Same reason Ibushi hasn't gone to AEW. It's timing, right? So I'm thinking there's going to be some people moved up right after Mania.
Like you have cable seats and everything.
When it comes to timing,
I apologize to say, Saido, but the timing is like his timing in the ring. He has none.
thank you. That was the point I was going to get to. For anyone to do well on the main roster, everybody who's ever watched me on the internet knows I bang on about wrestlers having timing all the time. As Andy's just stated,
just sorry to interrupt you, mate. I
couldn't read a watch. Right?
I've never once heard you comment on somebody's timing.
Well, I am now.
And he's one of the 3 people who watches you.
No, it is your thing. It is your thing.
The man has no timing. He's so sloppy. That first spear he hit Grayson Waller with last night just was ugly, and it wasn't ugly in the way Roman spears are ugly, where they look like they cut you in half. It was just poorly timed. The second one, he barely missed him. He barely touched him.
That's better. Right. That's enough Bron Breakker slander for this week. I'm with Nick on a few points with the show. The main event was perhaps the worst match on the show, but it was all right for what it was. The triple threat women's match did deliver. Anybody else who's got any comments, let us know what you thought about the show. But I am with you, Nick, on one thing, and that is the fact I think it was their best event for a good 6 months or more. So it's a move in the right direction.
I'll admit, I'm looking forward to the one on WrestleMania weekend because I feel like that'll be the one where we really see things come to a head.
When Melo wins the belt.
It's going to be a good show.
Yeah. And also one thing that I'd say at the moment, quite sadly, is the women's main event scene is a lot more interesting and better than the men's.
Agreed. I'd agree with that at the moment. I was much more excited for the triple threat last night than I was for Breakker versus Waller.
You see, I wasn't as excited for the triple threat because, like you said before about Chad Frost's booking can be a little bit wonky donkey sometimes. It reminded me, of him just listening to Vince going way back when Stone Cold defended the belt against Undertaker and Kane in a triple threat, and you knew there was going to be that they can't coexist. They're going to turn on each other, and it was the same kind of formula. So I didn't really give HBK that many props for that, but it turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So Zane, why weren't you watching the show last night? What's your excuse?
I didn't know I was going to be on the podcast today.
Right, including nothing on it.
Okay.
Although it has to be said, David, that a rice cake with nothing on it might be bland, might not excite your taste buds, might not make your tongue tingle. However, it's full of the nutrients that you need.
But can anyone catch me up? So the reason I haven't been watching NXT.
Come on, give us the reasons.
So, the reason I haven't been watching NXT is because they don't have anything good going on there. Like, I'm going to be very honest with you. I used to be a very, very avid viewer of NXT, and when they don't produce good stuff, I just really can't give attention to it or can't really pay it. Am I coming through right? Is my audio
you are. You're coming through fine. It's just he can't believe what he's hearing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to stop you there. Right now, what you need to do, Zane, straight away is you need to, because one of my boys is on NXT at the minute, and he's one of the best things. Right, you know what name I'm going to say?
Yes,
Nathan Frazier. So you need to go.
Nathan Frazier is pretty good. I agree, right? But the product in general is not good. The wrestlers might be good, but the product being produced using those wrestlers, that's not really.
The wrestling hasn't been as good as it was when it was black and gold by a long shot, and I'll give you that. The character work and the outside the ring side of things has been pretty engaging, but we've got to remember it's a kids show at the end of the day. So when you get standout moments like Nathan Frazier, Charlie Dempsey, Axiom, there are a lot of talented people on that roster, and it's coming back into its heyday.
You're right. I understand. It's a kids show, and that's why you like it. Okay, sorry, I get it now.
No, that's not what I said.
That's what he said.
Moving on. Someone, Nick, take us to the next topic.
Right, guys.
He needs a break.
Right, okay. Moving on. Come on, brain work. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to hit the big one this time, boys, because this is what I want to talk about. Sami Zayn. Now, we all know I started my SmackDown review this week. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. And at the end of the Royal Rumble, we had an absolute chef's kiss, masterful piece of work with the collapse of the bloodline, the possible betrayal of Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn being left in a heap while Kevin Owens was handcuffed to the ropes. We came round to SmackDown. Jey wasn't there. Roman was sending Jimmy and Solo looking for him all night. He never found them. He eventually said, "You two go have a meal. I'm going to go to the ring and handle some business." He came out. He wanted to talk about Cody Rhodes, but the crowd did not want him to talk about Cody Rhodes because it was deafening chants of Sami. For me, this is the best storyline in WWE in 10 years since Punk.
A century.
Yeah, since CM Punk, basically.
Since the Yes Movement.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I think it's better than the Yes Movement. Honestly, I think it's better than the Yes Movement. Yeah, the Yes Movement wasn't as long-term booked. It wasn't as planned as this was.
When you say it was planned,
It's a good point. Yeah.
We know the Bloodline story was planned, but I mean, Andy, what do you think on this? Do you honestly think they planned for Sami to get this over? Or
No.
do you think this has happened organically?
No, I think at first it was. I think they were probably going to tell the story of Kevin Owens and Sami versus the Usos. I think that was the original plan. And then as time gone on and it's organically gone over, they've had to do a swerve on this. Now, they say that it was always meant to be Roman versus Sami at Elimination Chamber, and I believe that to be true. But I believe that Roman was meant to squash him for then Sami and Kevin to get their revenge at WrestleMania for the tag team titles. But surely that can't be the case now.
Now, everybody wants Sami to win. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think we can all say everybody wants Sami to win. But if Roman beats him in Montreal, the nuclear heat that he will develop is unheard of. Roman will literally, I mean, look how much of a heel he's getting booed twice as much since what he did at Royal Rumble. If he smashes Sami in Montreal, convincingly wins after Sami gives the most gallant, awe-inspiring babyface effort we've seen in years, the heat that Roman will generate going in for Cody, people will be begging for someone to take those titles off him, and I don't think they'll care who it is after Sami.
Going back to was it planned or was it not planned? I'm kind of with you guys. I think the angle was planned and it was well written, but I didn't think it would just like take off, like a rocket like it has done. It's rare, isn't it, in wrestling when you get those organic kind of reactions going on and you really get investment that you maybe weren't planning on. But what they have done is they've adapted with it and they've rolled with it and they've gone with it and they've planned because of it. When they changed the Elimination Chamber from Saudi to Montreal. And that Bell Center in Montreal, I remember when, even guys like Hogan came back and it was 20 minutes when he couldn't speak because the crowd just wouldn't stop chanting his name. It's one of the best crowds in wrestling. So like you say, the end of that main event, the place is just going to riot if he doesn't win that title. It's going to be amazing. I'm almost looking forward to this more than Roman against Cody. Now, Zayn, is that a problem? Is that a good thing?
Oof. Okay, so I have a couple of things here, and I'm going to take up some of your time because it's been a while since I've had a chance to speak. It's been precisely 3 months, I think. I'm really behind Sami Zayn, and we're all behind Sami Zayn, and we really want Sami to beat Roman. But the issue is that the Cody story is so perfectly aligned that Cody has to beat Roman. Because if Sami takes the titles off Roman, then the Cody story is now essentially gone to the garbage, and they've built it all of it for nothing. Now, here's how I think it could perfectly work out. Roman has to beat Sami in Montreal. Roman can't take a loss until WrestleMania, but Sami gets a rematch at WrestleMania. And here's how it happens. Sami versus Roman on night 1 for the Universal Championship. Cody faces someone else on night 1, maybe Seth. If Seth has a program with Logan, Cody faces someone else. Sami beats Roman on night 1, takes the Universal title. Cody beats Roman on night 2, takes the WWE Championship. The downfall of Roman, truly. Because I really think this storyline needs to end with Sami winning one of the belts, and the Bloodline storyline really needs to end with Jey Uso beating Roman Reigns. Because that thing is still up in the air. and we really need a Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns match. And the only way to truly kind of put a cap on all these things, I don't think Sami should be taking a loss. I think Sami should get a decisive win over Roman. That's how it ends. If it ends in any other way, I'll be sad.
Do you think, though, say they took both belts off Roman, right? Because this is the key here. In Montreal, it's going to be the undisputed Universal title. So if Sami takes both of them, he's going to take the whole, he's taking the keys to the castle, he's taking everything. Now, if somewhere along the line that one of them belts gets took from Sami, and then Sami can have his
WrestleMania?
Before WrestleMania, yeah, one of them belts could get took from Sami. Would you be averse to, does Cody need Roman, or could you have somebody win a tournament or something for the right to face Cody at WrestleMania for the vacant title?
I think Cody needs Roman.
Yeah.
Like, no, I said it the other week, and smug mode, I called it right. Wrestling has more than one royal family. That's the clutch of Cody's story with Roman. It's the Anoa'i's versus the Romans.
I know this sounds terrible, though, but does anyone care right now?
I do.
I do too.
Brandy Rhodes does.
Yeah, but right now, or would that need let the bloodline story come to a head and then go down that route? Because at the moment, you're inserting, you're trying to insert the Emperor in a Darth Vader story. Do you know what I mean? You're trying to get the bad
right. So what we've got here, listening to you guys. So Zane, you're saying you think the titles are going to be separated, and you're going to get 2 Mania main events, which is a great idea. Yeah. Andy, from what I gather from what you're saying, you're thinking more perhaps you're going to end up with a triple threat at Mania.
I think what my thing is, my thing more than anything is Cody a distraction to this storyline, and is there a way to give him his moment without him ruining the bloodline stuff?
Yeah.
Because I just don't see how he fits in.
I've got another one. Nick, we were talking last night about how, isn't it weird that you've had the title match announced for WrestleMania with Cody and Roman, and you've also had the Elimination Chamber match with Sami and Roman announced before? So normally they wouldn't do that, because announcing one further in the future would give away the result nearer to you.
Yeah.
So this whole situation reminds me of a match that took place at the same pay-per-view in 2005 with Brock and Eddie. So my theory on this is that you all remember what happened when Lesnar lost the belt to Guerrero. It was amazing. And it was basically storyline driven to build up a match between Brock and Goldberg. Now, if they were to do something similar, and if Sami were to win the belt, you're thinking, maybe you'll still get Rock Roman. Maybe you'll get Sami Kevin. But then where does Cody fit in the puzzle?
That's my big problem, mate, is the fact is I don't see where Cody fits in without me getting annoyed with him, and that's why maybe I just think to myself, either split the belt and give him his moment away from all of this, or 2, hold off on him. But I think they've given themselves the biggest headache in the world by getting Cody to win the Rumble.
Yeah, but what if? Here's the thing, because I just feel like the night 1, night 2 Sami versus Roman and Cody versus Roman thing works, because that way you get both of those things wrapped up. The issue is that these are 2 really good storylines. These are the 2 best storylines in wrestling going on right now.
Can I just stop you there? Let me just ask you that question based on your storyline. Right? Why is the Cody Roman story so great? Why do I care about that storyline, Zane?
Because Cody needs to win when his dad couldn't.
But why do I care about that right now, when I've got all this brilliant Sami's Roman stuff going on here? Why do I care about Cody? And that this is the biggest sad thing about it, is because I cared so much about Cody, and I want to see him do his WrestleMania moment. I wanted to see him before he got injured. I've seen all that, but now I feel like I'm too far gone where I don't really care, and I just see Cody as more of an annoyance than anything.
It's kind of like, to put it into a metaphor, it's kind of like, you're going to have a really juicy fillet steak in a week, but a day before you get to it, somebody gives you 2 fillet steaks, and it's even better.
The fact is, I said the other week, the reason they were escalating things at the Rumble for Elimination Chamber was because they needed to finish this storyline with Sami before Roman could move on to Cody. They finished the storyline at Elimination Chamber with Sami getting decimated after the most ungodly babyface effort you've ever seen, where Roman gets him taken out on a stretcher and Sami Zayn disappears.
So, Nick, do you think at that point, it would have made more sense to actually keep Sami off TV until Mania and have him cost Roman the belt against Cody, and then you've got a Roman Sami feud without the title going after Mania.
No, because then Cody didn't win the title. Sami won the title for Cody.
Yeah.
Cody's got to win it on his own. Like
Okay,
I said,
let's say another say on this because I know he's been waiting for a long time here. I'm interested to see what he wants to say.
go on, Zay.
Yeah, I was just saying that I feel like there is a way for us to kind of wrap up these two storylines. Like we can care about two things at the same time. And
Let me
I
ask
think
you something
this was-
before you tell us the theory. Does your theory involve Batista?
Oh, fuck yeah.
It does?
Okay,
No, you can't share it. If it doesn't involve Batista, then share away.
Okay, it doesn't. Okay. So I was just thinking that we can care for two storylines at the same time, right? And this was bound to happen by having two belts on the same guy. If Roman didn't have the WWE Championship, we had two great storylines going on at the same time. Uh, but I feel like let's say Sami wins at the Chamber, but then Roman isn't as big of a deal for Cody at WrestleMania, right? Even if the WWE Championship, he somehow regains the championship. I just feel like there's no way but for Sami to lose at Elimination Chamber, come back by some screwy finish, right? And then he returns or comes back, and Mania Night 1, as I said earlier, is Sami versus Roman. And Sami beats Roman, right? But for the Universal Championship only, like you have to kind of separate the belts there. And I think that's the only way we get those two storylines wrapped up.
I mean, it does make sense. Personally, I'm against the belts being separated. You guys know this. I think when it comes to wrestling, less is more. Less titles in a company means more prestige, and I think that's a good thing.
I think the problem you've got, though, Si, is because Roman's being so dominant and this storyline has took everything up, especially, any other pay-per-view is fine, but when you've got a two-night Mania, I feel, and because of the dominance of this storyline, I feel Roman having the two belts has been nothing but, a bugbear of a man, because I just feel like they need one night each for Mania, like the girls have gotten...
Yeah, I know what you're saying. The whole bloodline, and particularly Roman, his whole storyline is that he is the tribal chief and the head of the table because he's carrying both belts. And because the Usos have got both sets of belts. You take one away...
Yeah. He was the tribal chief before he won both belts.
Yeah, but it's been nearly a year. You take one of those straps off him and not the other one. Does he lose all of his importance, his meaning, his significance? And does the other belt get devalued?
As long as he keeps the Universal title, the reign stays intact. No pun intended.
Yeah. But let me ask you this: say, if he loses one of the belts, does his insecurity start seeping in, and the worry and the panic, and we get really nuts, Roman, and you know what I mean? There's another dynamic to that story, then.
Yeah. I mean, I get the plus side to it, but personally, I would rather there was one belt because it means more. That person can be on both shows. See?
Okay. Yeah. So what if? So Cody needs to beat Roman clean, but Sami doesn't. What if Jay helps Sami win at Elimination Chamber?
No, Jey Uso can't go to Canada.
Yes, he can. Jimmy can't.
Yeah, Jimmy.
I thought they both couldn't go to Canada.
No, Jay was at the last one in Canada.
Ah, okay.
Technically, Jimmy could if he just borrowed Jay's passport, but let's not suggest that.
Wow. So if Jay costs Roman the title, Sami wins both belts. Roman somehow gets one of the belts back before Mania, and then Cody beats Roman for the belt. How does that sound?
Wait a minute. What if the exact opposite happens? What if Jay sides with Roman, and we go into a Sami-Jay feud for Mania?
Oh. Yeah, but Sami needs to beat Roman.
I love Sami does need to beat Roman, absolutely. Cody does need to beat Roman, and that's the problem. I love all of these options. It's not often in wrestling that particularly guys that have watched as long as some of us have are so kind of like flabbergasted as to what the eventualities are actually going to be. But to me, there's only one actual thing that's going to happen. I hate to say it. Jay is going to come back. And he's going to cost Sami the belt against Roman. Yeah. And we are going to get Sami and Kevin beating the Usos for the tag belts at WrestleMania. What a pittance.
I think we're going to get more than that. I think not only are they going to beat the Usos, but I think the Usos are going to hug Sami and Kevin after the match. And
but that's But that's not the wrap up I want to this story. I want to see Sami beat Roman, but I
Yeah.
also want to see Cody beat Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
See,
it.
do you
Well,
know,
the-
but this is the difference, though, in my opinion. Sorry, Sai, is I want to see Sami beat Roman, but I want to see Cody become a champion, and that is the difference for me. It's not as important to me for Cody to beat Roman. I just want Cody to be a champion, where I
So
want
Andy,
to see Sami beat Roman.
how would you
Uh,
feel further down the line? Because you guys know how I feel about this. So say that you get Cody winning the belt at WrestleMania, right? How would you feel about Cody turning heel and Sami being the guy to beat Cody?
They aren't
Because
going to turn
Cody should be a heel. That's my hill to die on. I don't care.
yeah.
I know
no,
Cody
no,
doesn't
right
want to
now.
be, but
they
he's
won't.
so good as a heel.
Yeah,
They won't
No.
turn him heel.
They
See,
won't turn him heel.
to be fair, Sai, there's your perfect outcome. That's never going to happen.
No, that's not even a perfect outcome. Turning Cody heel is bad for business because he's one of the best baby faces they have. He's the top
Says who?
baby face they have.
Says who?
He is over.
I'm sorry, but I agree with Zayn. He's one of the best pure baby faces in wrestling.
Yeah.
It's just
He
the
is over.
crowd in
You-
crowd in AEW just didn't want him to be.
So is he more over than Seth Rollins?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
even said it the other week. Is Seth
I-
over or is his song over?
Yeah.
I think the AEW, a large part of the issue there was Brandy, to be honest. I think Brandy is a bit of a heat magnet, and that kind of got attached to Cody.
Just a tad.
When she's coming out and, putting people through tables and acting like a witch and, and you're with somebody, yes, you're going to be a heel by proxy, and that did a lot of the damage. But yeah, there's one more scenario about this. Let's say that Sami and Kevin win the tag belts at Mania. So maybe they hug the Usos after, maybe they don't, okay? How about you get is it Backlash after Mania? I believe it is. How about you get a main event that's a little bit different, and it's for the tag titles, and you get Kevin and Sami defending against the Usos and against Roman and Solo, and in that match, Sami pins Roman. Long-term story to SummerSlam.
Nah. I think this is so hot right now. This needs to be capped up at WrestleMania in a one-on-one match or Elimination Chamber.
Thing is, one thing none of us have brought up is it was recently reported by Triple H that Triple H doesn't see Sami Zayn as a WrestleMania main eventer. Now, do we think that is actually true, or do we think this is more of a case of what they did with Daniel Bryan, saying
B+.
you're not ready for the main event, because then when they do put him in that spot, everyone goes crazy.
But the issue is that with Daniel Bryan, the crowd wanted one thing. They wanted to see Daniel Bryan win. There weren't two conflicting storylines that the crowd was split on. Right now, they'd be fine. The crowd wouldn't mind if Cody wins. If Sami loses and Cody wins, the crowd wouldn't mind. The crowd were ready to go ballistic if Orton versus Batista was in the main event of WrestleMania 30. Right now, they have an out option with Sami losing. So I think the realistic understanding of this would be that they're going to have Sami lose, but they're going to get him redeemed somehow. He's going to cost Roman the title or something.
I can see that.
Hmm.
Now, the thing is, like I say, I think Cody needs to win clean. But at the same time, do we want a triple threat at Mania?
No, because then two stories getting involved and they're going to get messed up. I don't think so.
Plus, didn't we have this? Was it last year or the year before? Year before, wasn't it, with Edge and Bryan both challenging?
Yeah.
So Roman's already done the triple threat defense at Mania. He smashed him and he stacked him. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Can I just confirm, guys, as well, that Jey Uso can attend Elimination Chamber? It's just Jimmy who can't.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. Just as a hypothetical scenario, I'm now kind of buying into Nick's idea of a triple threat. What if Sami wins the triple threat by pinning Roman, right? And Cody gets the title down the line. Does Cody really need the belt right now?
Well, you mentioned this to me the other week on the podcast, Andy. Does Cody lose at Mania, and does that hurt him if he doesn't?
I think no, it doesn't, because I feel like there's a big journey for him to go on that he hasn't gone on yet. And for me personally, this has been my bugbear with Cody since the start, since he joined last WrestleMania, is the fact of, we haven't gone on that journey for him to get there yet. With Sami, we have, and that's why I care more about Sami than I do Cody. But I want Cody to win the belt, right? this is the thing, right? I do, but does the average fan? If you went and polled the average fans, do they all want Cody to win, or do
I
they
think
all
so.
want Sami? Well, some of them probably do saying yeah, but your casual fans and that maybe not. You know, they all want Sami
Why
to
don't
win
we
it
run
more
a poll?
because they care.
I,
Yeah.
I'm going to launch this poll right after the show.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Also, I think so. With the triple threat, if Sami beats Roman and Sami pins Roman in the triple threat, then Cody is still protected because Cody never lost. And that way, Cody can get a WWE championship, maybe at SummerSlam, maybe down the line.
Yeah.
Isn't there a danger there of turning Cody into the, dare I say, next Lex Luger? You know, Lex was over. He had a shot against a long-reigning heel champion, and he had another shot, and then he fizzled out.
Yeah,
See, I believe you could do something along the lines of the Bryan story with Cody, where people really care and they hear the story of his dad, and then he loses in it. I'm sorry, Dad, I let you down. You know, I'm gonna have to try, and then he finally overcomes at the top of the mountain, whoever that is at the Pacific moment. I feel like if you do it now, it's what's next for Cody after Mania, because once he's done the Roman thing, it's like, what does he do then? With Sami, you've got Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Sikoa, Roman, the Kevin Owens stuff. There's a lot of different routes you could go down with Sami. And I just think, like, probably the way, everyone keeps saying the best thing to happen was Cody getting injured. I feel like it's probably been the worst thing for him now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
You said before, we've not been on that journey with Cody in the last year. And that's because he got injured. Yeah. We didn't get to go on that journey with Cody.
And I think the other thing as well, just to answer your question, Si, is with Lex Luger, nobody wanted Lex Luger. We were forced Lex Luger. And I feel like we could, and Vince was testing the waters with Lex, and it just didn't work out.
Do you not remember watching the Lex Express every week and all the cheering kids everywhere it stopped? But this was real to me, damn it.
But we were just told that was going to be the thing where with Cody, I feel like that's what we're getting now. He's won the Rumble. We want him to win. That's what you need to know. But it's like, make me care. Tell me why. And that's what I don't feel like the bit of the story we're getting. Now, they could pull that in the next couple of weeks up to Mania, but is it enough time? And have we seen him overcome the controversy for us to really feel it right now?
If Roman put Sami Zayn to bed at Elimination Chamber, Jey resides with Roman, the bloodline is intact, you then have 5 solid weeks to book Wrestling Has More Than One Royal Family as the crux.
It's never going to get over. It's never going to get over.
Cody has to go through the entire bloodline before Mania.
It will never get over though, Nick, because everybody, and me included, I will hold my hands up, or I'll be sitting there and going, piss off, you ruined Sami, you ruined him.
Yeah.
That's all I'd be thinking, and no matter what you do with that, then you are never going to get me back on side with it, because I'll be that fuming over them, just hot-shotting the Sami feud and getting rid of that so easily that it's like, what was it all for?
But as you said, the problem is the Sami feud wasn't planned. Like,
but that's the best thing about it. Just because it wasn't planned doesn't mean you shouldn't go with it. At the end of the day, it wasn't planned for Cody to get injured.
But they are going with it. They're doing it at Elimination Chamber. They're not just blowing Sami off and going, "Oh, it doesn't happen." He's getting his title shot. He got to put Roman in his place.
He's getting his title shot, but if he doesn't win that title, mate, I am telling you now, nobody is going to accept Cody in the main event at Mania. It won't happen. People will be that fuming over it that it's just going to be.
It depends how they do it.
So we've had a lot of people making the comparisons, and I'll be honest, I was one of them, saying that what happens when Daniel Bryan gets eliminated, Batista gets booed? Are we going to have a danger of that kind of re-happening? Because Sami Zayn is the most organically over person since Daniel Bryan, so is Cody going to get that kind of like flag back heat? I don't think it's going to happen. I think Cody's reaction at the Rumble and on Raw the night after, or 2 nights after, was genuine, and he is super over in a different way to Sami.
Ask me this question though, Si, if Sami Zayn was in the last 3 with him, would he have got that same pop?
Andy, if Sami Zayn was in the last 3, would he have got the same pop?
No, would
so you wouldn't expect me to ask that?
Would have, because Cody got the same pop for winning it.
Yeah.
I have to side with Andy here. Like, Cody would have been booed. Cody would have been booed out of the building, and Sami was in the
because there was a potential for Sami to win it. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, would Cody have still got that pop? And that's what I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying that Cody's not great, but by trying to integrate him into this bloodline, if the bloodline storyline doesn't go as to planned, then, you know, there's a problem here. I mean, the other good thing you've got here, if Sami takes the belts off Roman or one of them, right? Or even if Sami turns around and pulls a funny one and goes, then he wins the belts off Roman at Elimination Chamber and goes, I've decided to split the two belts, but I'm a defending champion, I'll defend two of them. And then they make Roman go back at him. Roman wins one of the belts back. Then Roman goes, right, well, unfortunately, I'm legally contracted to fight Cody at Mania. I'll deal with Sami after that. That keeps us going right through to Money in the Bank, maybe SummerSlam, you know.
But I have a
Is
question.
everybody not looking at this slightly the wrong way around? Everybody keeps saying Cody Rhodes is in Sami Zayn's way. It's not. Sami's in Cody's way. Sami was never supposed to be the guy. Cody was supposed to be the guy. As far as the
Cody was off injured.
As far as the company is concerned, not the fans, but as far as the company is concerned, Sami's the one in the way, not Cody Rhodes.
Okay, if you've got a bar though, Nick, right, and you come across and loads of people want to drink Pepsi, are you going to turn around and go, no, you've got to buy Coke?
No, of course I'm not. But I'm not WWE.
You know, this is the thing is sometimes things just fall upon you and it happens, and you know, it's just like me. A plain example is I've never drank I don't like fizzy drinks. I'm not a big fizzy drinks fan. The other day, Ashton, just on a whim, gave me a taste of his Mountain Dew, and I love it now. I think it's great, and I've been buying it to drink it because I think it was a lovely drink. And that's just happened naturally, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go, well, I've never drank you, so I'm never going to drink you again.
Look, I'm a Cody mark at the end of the day. I have been for years. He's my favourite wrestler. I firmly want the main event of WrestleMania to be Cody versus Roman. I have done for since last Mania. That's the way I want it to go.
But why though? This is the thing. Why? Tell me why.
Because Cody's my favourite wrestler. Roman's the most over heel in the business, and I want to see Cody become champion by beating the most over heel.
I get what you're saying, Nick. You're saying just the same as me. I wanted to see Dominic Mysterio win the Royal Rumble, go to WrestleMania and beat Roman Reigns. So I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's something I don't want to see, but right now I don't want to see it now. And just because it's Mania season and it's at this time, why do I need to see that now? Just because, you know, there's more important things that I want to see.
Okay,
at the end of the day,
forgetting is Cody won the Rumble, so it's tough.
Yeah,
Cody is the main event of WrestleMania. It's not Cody's fault. What they need to do is exactly what they've done. They've escalated the story, and it finishes at Elimination Chamber.
Flip this. Andy, I get the sense that you are detached from the Cody Rhodes story. Right? You're just not getting it. Who would you rather see? There's a lot of story. Okay, so say that Cody wasn't getting this shot, and say that Sami hadn't got over it as organically as he has. Yeah. Who would you have had face Roman without naming those two people?
So you can win the Rumble and build it from there, right? But I think the problem you've got is you know, as Nick's probably said, is Sami is in his way a little bit. The same as Cody's in Sami's way. I think WWE have booked themselves into a nightmare by getting Cody to win the Rumble, because I feel like Cody is probably going to lose out on his shine through no fault of his own, through the fact that he's getting shoehorned into something that he shouldn't be a part of.
I have an idea.
Well, he's not. Hang on a second. He's not actually being shoehorned into the Bloodline storyline. He's not. He's Roman's next opponent for Mania, but he's got nothing to do with the Bloodline storyline. He's not interjected himself.
He's making them. If they just go for the straight batter, Sami go to Cody. They are. That's what they're doing, because they're rushing it and getting it through to get to where they want to at Mania, not through doing the story properly. And we've seen this time and time again from them.
Okay. I have an idea. So we have 10 minutes left, right? Let's just, with four of us, let's just quickly pitch ideas for what we think should happen, right? And let's just see what's the best outcome. Why don't we start with you, Andy? What do you think should happen?
The best outcome for me would be somehow the belts get split up. Cody gets his moment, because I want to see Cody's moment, but I don't necessarily need to see it against Roman. I just want to see Cody live his dream out. Potentially get one of the belts and bring back the Winged Eagle. It'd be awesome. You know, all that kind of storyline, get the belt his dad never had, all that great stuff, yeah? and then I want to see Sami overcome Roman at WrestleMania.
Okay. Nick?
I want to see Sami get smashed at Elimination Chamber in the most horrific way possible. So he's taken out on a stretcher and disappears till after WrestleMania. I want to see Cody win the belts off Roman at Mania. I then want Cody to split said titles the Raw after Mania, send the Universal title back to SmackDown. Roman is put into a tournament or is awarded that championship on SmackDown, and then later on at SummerSlam, the next big pay-per-view, Sami overcomes Roman for the Universal title.
I have said this before, I will say it again, Nick. You sit down to we.
Yeah, okay.
So moving on from that, my take on this, I want to see, like I said before, I want to see Dominic Mysterio win the belt that his dad never won and bring back the Winged Eagle title. But honestly, I still think that Dale here in this comment, that's what's going to happen. That is what we're going to see.
That is what's going to happen, but
it's a consolation win. It's the pittance.
Yeah.
But do you think it ruins Cody's momentum by it not being the way that it should be? That's all I'm saying is, I want as I said to start, I want Cody to win the belt. I don't necessarily mean it should be against Roman, but I want to see him get a story over the thingy. But if the whole bloodline stuff doesn't play out and it is rushed and they just smash Sami and get rid of it and whatever else, and Sami doesn't get that moment, do you see Cody's kind of title reign being flat because of it? Because
honestly, all right, and I might get a little bit of heat for this, but honestly, I think Cody's reign with the world title as a face, it's only going to end one way, and that's Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. I don't see enough credible heel challenges to keep that entertaining for 6, 9, 12 months. Cody is a heel champion in the future, maybe.
One word. Gunther.
Yeah. That's why they did the Royal Rumble face-off. They did that for a reason.
Yeah.
They did that for a reason.
Brock's going to beat Gunther for the IC title. He's then going to drop the IC
No.
title at Mania.
No. I don't think so.
No. Gunther isn't going to be in the ring with Brock. He's going to be wrestling Drew, potentially Drew and Sheamus. We're going to be getting Lesnar and Lashley. I don't think Brock will wrestle for the IC belt. He's stepping down too much.
What if Gunther beats Drew and beats both Drew and Sheamus in a handicap match? I mean, it's awful booking, but imagine what it would do.
I think just to go back to that match there, I think Brock versus Gunther does happen, but I think it happens at SummerSlam just when Gunther's going to break Honky Tonk's record.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he needs to get to some point in September, doesn't he? So if he is going to challenge Cody, should Cody win? I don't think you're going to get to see that till Survivor Series, potentially Royal Rumble next year.
Sorry, I mean Gunther versus Brock. Like, Brock is the ultimate boss for him to break the record.
Yeah.
You wouldn't bring Honky back for one more match?
Because then also on top of that, I feel like that, because of the fact that there's this big record on the line and stuff, it then makes it more important enough for Brock to be involved.
Yeah. Also, Cody does not need many heel. Cody has some heel challengers. We have Finn Balor. There's Dominic Mysterio, as you mentioned. There's
and Cody's final boss. And Cody's final boss,
yeah.
the inevitable heel turn of Seth.
Yeah, and maybe Edge. I want to see Edge versus Cody. Yeah. Batista may return.
I do think Dom will take the IC the US belt this year. Yeah, probably the US because Gunther's breaking that record.
Don't forget, we've also got
Gunther would be good.
Yeah, we've got Tony D'Angelo to come up and challenge Cody.
Yeah.
So on that note, guys, we are slowly running out of time. Is there anything else that any of you would like to discuss?
Let me just get Dale's awesome comment here. Tom should be in the ring with Judgment Day. Ray comes in and shoot lightning and says he will face his son at WrestleMania. Tom Tombstone's Pete Rose. It writes itself. It really does.
Itself perfectly.
All right, everyone, we need a petition. This man right here, we need him booking for WWE. That's the most ingenious thing I've seen for a long, long time. Fantastic.
And then we've got David, who is a potty mouth and needs to go and come on, David. I like you, David. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Thank you, Dave.
Sorry, I don't
David,
know what you
who's your? I don't know, David. Are you? Do you know what it means when you say you've got a boy? right? We're blatantly ripping this off another channel. It's something we talk about. If you have a boy, what it means is, yeah, absolutely. What it means if you have a boy is it means that somebody that you think is really, really cool, that the majority consensus doesn't get, and you don't ever really think they're going to win a world title. Now, Dominic is my boy. So, David, who's your boy? Who's your boy? Because there's no one better than Dom.
No, right, just very quickly then, guys, just let's get it in there because, David just mentioned a good point there about the AEW TNT title. That was a banger of a match. But for me personally, the best match of the night was Mox versus Hangman. I thought that was really, really good. What was your thoughts on that?
Loved it. It was a very old school, hard hitting slugfest, and I like a good slugfest. And I'm willing to bet dimes to dollars that is not the end of the Moxley Page feud. I think
it's not. You know where it's going to go? Yes, Revolution is going to have a final stipulation, and what's going to happen is Hangman is basically going to get given the choice for the stipulation because Mox is so macho. Hangman is going to pick a first blood match. The match is over in 5 seconds. Hangman wins.
Yeah, probably.
Perfect. But no, to be fair, seriously, the match was really, really good. It was good. Just one thing that I wanted to ask is two things actually. One was why did we think Samoa Joe won that title again when he not long lost it, and what was the point in him losing it just to win it back again?
Wardlow.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think the reason they took it off him was because Wardlow was rumored to be hurt and he couldn't do TV for a couple of weeks. Wardlow's obviously been cleared, so they went right. We'll go back. Tony Khan's gone back to Plan A, put the belt back on Joe because now we can rerun the program we wanted to in the first place. And I think Darby was just a happy stopgap to keep the fans pleased.
I think you might be right, Nick, but I tend to think instead of Wardlow, I'm hoping it's Miro. I want Miro Joe for that belt.
Do you want me to tell you what my thoughts are on it? I think, if this is true, shut up, Shane. No one cares. You're the guest, remember that, you little idiot. You don't get a vote, you gimp. But anyway, I feel like the biggest thing for me was if Tony Khan, he might not be great in the wrestling world, but he is a very good marketing guy and he's a good businessman. You can't deny that. Take away the wrestling stuff. Darby Allin went over to Japan with Sting to wrestle the Great Muta's final match. So it was a really good thing for him to have that TNT belt on his shoulder while he was over there.
Yeah, it was. No, I'd agree with that. It's good. It's smart marketing.
Yeah,
get your title. Yeah. TNT were going to be happy about it. Flipping AEW would have been happy about it. The other company would have been like, yeah, fine, bring your title along. It looks good for the show.
Yeah. So that was my thoughts anyway. Other things this week, I think that was noticeable. And do you know what, Si, I thought of you straight away and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Jade Cargill hits 50-0. Please don't tell me you're clapping the way she made 50-0. I'm glad she made it, but the way she made it, no.
I'm not trying to be insensitive with this, right? I'm aware that it's Black History Month in the States. I'm aware that getting 50-0 during that month is a pretty big thing. It shouldn't have happened like this, right? It shouldn't have happened like this. Red Velvet was never a credible challenger. Jade's 50th win should have been for the world title. It could have happened at Revolution. She could have beaten Jamie Hayter and held both belts. Had a tournament for the TBS title. I mean, yes, it was a good match. It was better than the first match they had, but it's not what I wanted to see.
So was
yeah. I mean, I think the thing for me was I thought it was, it was very, very downgraded in the way she won it. The only way I can describe it is farting in the wind instead of farting in the car with all the windows up. Yeah. There's a better way to make a more of an impact, and I think they missed out on making that big impact, which was, and I was kind of sad for Jade.
For me, I saw what they were doing with Velvet. I know the idea was circular booking her. She started with Red Velvet, so give her 50th win with Red Velvet, but she was the wrong opponent. It should have been somebody a lot more credible. It should have been somebody who's got a lot more chutzpah behind him, someone who the fans go, oh, maybe she can beat Jade.
Quickly around the room, guys, because we are literally nearly out of time. Who do we think is going to beat Jade Cargill? Give me a one-word answer, Zane.
Batista.
Thank you for your input. Andy?
Paige, unfortunately, or Saraya.
Nick.
Britt Baker.
I'm going Mercedes. It's probably going to be none of the above. Is there anything else that anybody would like to talk about this week? Anything you guys want to plug? Nick?
One final bit of news. I think we can all be happy. Vince has said he is stepping down after he sells the company. So just a quick one there. I was not happy when Vince McMahon reforced his way back onto the board of directors. Thank God he's staying away from creative.
Allegedly.
Yeah, but everything he's done lately has been allegedly. But he is supposed to be stepping down after he said the sale of WWE. I'm happy about this. I think Vince should have retired 20 years ago. But that's just me. Other than that, please watch my SmackDown recaps. They've just started this week on our channel. I go live after SmackDown every week on Fridays and recap the whole show.
Honestly, this past week, I watched SmackDown in about an hour and 15 minutes, skipping the ads. Your show was about 23 minutes. I wish I'd just watched your show because it gave me all the stuff I needed to know from watching SmackDown. Andy, anything you'd like to say, mate?
No, just again, watch next show, and thanks to everyone for watching us. We appreciate it. We're very, very new, and we're trying to find our way, guys. We'll be bringing a lot more content and stuff like that. And also, thanks to my little shift for joining. It's really going to be a warm feeling inside having him back with us today. And it wasn't sick either.
And if I may, ladies and gentlemen, the Legionnaires, if you like what we do here at Wrestling Legion, if you enjoy the content we're putting out, please join the Legion. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything we do in the future. As Andy says, we're brand new. It really helps us out. Thank you so much.
Zane, anything you'd like to add? It's been a pleasure having you as a guest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're out of time. So, for me, guys, and for everybody else, we've been Wrestling Legion, and we make it make sense.